Good morning, grade 4. So we are now in the topic of what is design process. So last week we have discussed about the technology and what are the evolution of the technology that we have now. And then we will now go to the design process of different technologies. Okay, so design process. People often have problems that can be solved with a new product or an improved process. For example, people have always looked for a faster way to travel from one place to another. Engineers develop or improved technologies to offer more benefits, to make products or process safer, and to meet the people's demand. Orville and Wilbur Wright had a dream to design the world's first piloted and powered flying machine. So Orville and Wilbur Wright, they are brothers. Okay, so they are the one who first invented the aeroplane. So other inventors had created gliders. So a gliders is a flying machine, but uh, without many passengers that could ride on it. A glider is a kind of aircraft that can sail from a high place to a lower one without a motor. Early gliders were difficult to control. After many experiments, Orville and Wilbur invented a way to control the flight. On December 17, 1903, they motorized the airplane. The Flyer flew for 12 seconds. The way Wright brothers designed the airplane can show how the design process is used. The design process is a set of steps for developing products and process that solve problems. So we are so lucky, and then we need to thank these two brothers who invented airplane. Without an airplane, we cannot go to further places in short period of time. So we are so lucky because we have now the airplane. Imagine life without the airplane. We will reach a destination with a long period of not time, days. Okay, so we are so lucky to have airplane nowadays. So, but before that thing happened, scientists Orville and Wilbur labor a lot, and then they do a lot of experiment and trials to finish the product. And then they use a design process that is a step by step of developing product. So here are the step by step way how to develop a product or how to develop an experiment. So the first is identify the problem. Next is do a research. Next is develop a possible solution. Choose one solution. Design and construct one prototype. Test the prototype. Communicate the result and evaluate the redesign. So I will discuss this step in the following slides. But for now, let's answer number 1. Identify, underline the definition of design process. So this is the definition or meaning of design process. Number 2, let's predict. Why is it important to use the design process when developing a new product? It is very important. Why? The design process can help make plan, and it is an organized way to build a new product. Imagine this one, it's very clear. You know what will be the first, what will be the next, until the last. And then the arrow shows here the step-by-step process. Okay, so let's proceed to the next slide. Steps of design process. The first one is identify the problem. So you need to figure out what will be the problem. The first step in design process is to identify the problem. One of the problem of Wright brothers before is they noticed was the aircraft could not turn easily. So this is the first identified problem in the first airplane. It is not turning easily. So if I want to turn right, it's not easily to turn right. There are many factors. It's because of the wind factor. It's because of the heaviness of the aircraft they invented before. So that is a problem they figured out before. When you identify the problem, it is also important to identify who will benefit from the solution. So the Wright brother figure out that once we solve this problem, we could help many people. We could help many people traveling in far places. Okay. So number 3, identify the name of the problem. What can be solved by a new design? Who could use your design? The possible answer is, how can I make my remote control car go faster? For example, imagine your car, okay? So that is powered by uh, engine, and then it is also powered by a petrol, okay? So car will not work without the engine. Car will not also work without a driver. But how about if you're going to invent a car moving without a driver? You could move it by the power of remote control. Okay? Imagine your television. Your television, you could change the channel of the television by just pressing the remote control. Same also with the car. You could try to move the car with just the help of remote control. It's a good idea, right? Example, if you want to go to the supermarket, and then especially nowadays, right? We are in a lockdown period. So you could just remote your car, go to the supermarket, and then ask someone to drop your groceries in your car. So no need to go to the grocery by just pressing the remote control. The car could go to the grocery. It's easy, right? And then who will benefit that one? People who race with remote cars could use my design. Okay, race. Uh, the people who love to race could also use this one because most of the race car are drive with people. So to avoid accident, why not race using a remote car? So no people will die. So that is a good idea. Now let's proceed to the next slide. The next step is do research. After asking a question, do a research. Researching what others have learned is an important part of the research process. Orville and Wilbur researched what others had learned about. So these two brothers just continue the research of other people also. This picture shows one of the Otto Lilienthal gliding experiment, which was also part of the Wright's research. So the first flying object that is drawn by a passenger is discovered by Mr. Otto. Okay, so this is the picture of his glider. But this study is just continued by the two brothers Orville and Wilbur. So they just improved this one because this is just a glider without a motor. But the invention of Wilbur and Orville is it's a flying device with a motor which could stay longer in air. Unlike this one, it could only stay for a couple of minutes. Unlike the invention of Orville and Wilbur, since it has a motor, it could stay longer and then it could fly higher. They talk to other inventors and read about the experiment of other inventors. You could do research by using the internet nowadays, and then by just reading books, you could easily see other research work of other person. So nowadays, it's more easy compared before. So let's try to answer number 1. Why do you think research is important? Possible answer is research can help you to better understand how to solve the problem. At the same time, you could find reference from the other scientists. Okay? Next to that one is step number 3, develop a possible solution. So after doing a research, you could find a possible solution to that one. So here, if you try to look at this one, Orville and Wilbur adjusted the wing shape of the kite. So they do the model of kite first, and then they try to adjust the wing of the kite. So this is their first model first. They didn't try it first with machine. They try it first without the machine, and then try to adjust the size of the wings of the kite. So this is their first experiment first, because they believe that the size of the wings could affect the height of flight. Okay, so they develop a possible solution to that. It says here, the wings could then be moved to turn the plane. Orville and Wilbur called the twisting the wings of the plane, or the wing warping, because through the wings of the kite, they could adjust the direction of the flight. It is important to measure the size and then the weight and identify the shape of each part of your design. How much each part weight can affect how your design works. So drawing and building a model is one part of the solution. As I mentioned, it's easy to test it first with the model compared to the real one, because it's expensive also to try the real one first before the model. Okay, so the next is here. Number 5, look at the caption and image of this page. So we have here the caption. Okay, this is the part of the wings of the airplane. So you have here the rudder, you also have here the elevator, and you also have here the aileron. Okay, how has the adjusting of aircraft wing shade changed over time? So the possible answer is the Wright brothers made wings that could be twisted. Modern aircraft use aileron to adjust the shape of the wings. So compared to the wings of the aeroplane before. Okay, so this is the wings before. Compared to that one here, what is the change? So the change is this one. Aileron helps the airplane to moves in a roller motion. So it could twist like this side and then this side, so that it could go left and right and then twist a little bit if there's a strong wind. Okay, so that is the help of aileron. So where you can see the present aileron here, it's here. Okay, if you were sitting in the window side of the airplane, you can see this one moving up and down, up and down. So we call it as aileron. It says here the modern aircraft use aileron instead of the wing warping. Before the Wright brother, they are using the wing warping in the kite, but now they are using this one, okay, to adjust the shape of the wings of the airplane. At the same time, it could adjust the motion of the airplane. So the next step to that one is choose one solution. So you need to choose one solution so that you could test it. Okay. So in number 7, try to answer number 7. Let's try to answer. What materials do you think that the Wright brothers used to conduct a wing of the plane? So I think they use a metal sheet, because metal sheet is flexible. Okay. So the next step will be design and conduct a prototype. A prototype is the first fully working product. So the Wright brother do a first product, and then they test that one, and then we call it as a prototype. Once you first finish the first product, you could call it as a prototype. Okay, so that is the term in science, prototype. That is number 5. Design and constructing prototype. So I will continue this part in the next video. See you there.